Hey everybody, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to draw shapes in Photoshop. First things first, where do you find the shape tool? Well, there's no shape tool per se, but there's multiple shape tools, and you can click U on your keyboard as a shortcut, or you can go down to the bottom of your toolbar and you'll see that there's a menu full of different shape tools. Usually you'd start off with the rectangle tool, so that's where we'll start. Now, once you open up the shape tool, you'll see it's kind of similar to if you're using like the marquee tool. You just kind of click and drag and it'll create a shape. Also, you can hold down shift to make a proportionate shape. So that's something to keep in mind as well. All right, so I'm gonna let go and you'll see right now I have a pure black square. You can change the colors two different ways. You can go to your properties panel, which is usually always up. But if you don't have your properties panel up, you would go up to the top of Photoshop and you'll see that there are a bunch of different options and we're going to go over all of them. First things first, fill. Fill is simply the color of the shape itself. So if I change the fill from black to purple, you'll notice that it becomes purple. But if I actually deselect it, you'll see there's still a black stroke, and that's because we do have a black stroke on it as well. So stroke, in case you didn't get it from when we looked at the fill, it is the outline of a shape. So you can use no stroke by clicking the stroke option and then clicking this transparent button right here. You can add a gradient, a pattern. Any of these options apply to both the stroke and the fill menu. So for example, if you wanted to add a gradient into your shape, you could definitely do that as well. It would actually look a lot better as a fill as opposed to a stroke, but you do have the option for both of them. For now, I am going to keep the stroke because we want to talk about the stroke size. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and then I'm going to go back to my rectangle tool. And right next to the word stroke, you'll see that there's a number, and this number represents the width of the stroke being the outline. So you can actually bring this number up and you'll see that the stroke gets a little bit thicker. So that's how you would control the thickness of the outline of the square. Another thing that you can control is the type of outline, and you'll only have these three options: dashed, dotted, or solid. But you can mess around with them a little bit by clicking more options, and you can add the proportions as far as how big you want the dash to be in comparison to the gap. You can change the caps of a straight line and the corners. So if you want a beveled corner, you can do that, a rounded corner. The alignment. So as you can see right now, our stroke is dead in the center of the edge of the shape. But if I change it to inside, then it starts on the inside. So these are all things to keep in mind when you're creating shapes in Photoshop. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out and we're going to move on to one of the other shapes. So the rectangle tool is similar to the ellipse tool, but I want to move on to the triangle tool because the triangle tool and the polygon tool are similar in a way. And what I like about these, and actually you can do this with all of them, but it's specifically helpful for the triangle and the polygon tool. When you click down twice on your file while you have one of these shape tools selected, you'll actually get this helpful little pop-up window, and it allows you to adjust the size to specific dimensions. For example, if I wanted a triangle specifically to be 100 by 100, then I would click OK, and then it would draw that tiny little triangle for me. Now, as you just saw in that little menu with the triangle, you can get a little bit mathematical with it. Like you can change the radius and stuff like that, but it's super, super helpful with the polygon tool specifically because when you double click, it actually allows you to create a certain amount of sides. So, you know, a normal polygon would have 5, but let's change it to 8, and then click OK. And you'll see that it makes exactly the shape that you need. Last thing I want to show you guys is the line tool, and the line tool is probably simpler than all of the ones that we just went over. All you do is you click and drag. If you want a straight line, you hold down shift. It also allows you to do perfect angles, so if you hold down shift and you move your mouse up far enough, it'll go at a 45-degree angle, and so on. The stroke, or the outline of a shape, actually works on the line too. As a matter of fact, the fill doesn't even matter when you're using a line, only the stroke matters. So you'll control a line strictly using the stroke and the stroke width. So if I want this line to be a little bit thicker, all I would do is drag this out, and then I'm making the line thicker. All right, so that's pretty much it for all of our shape tools. It's a very, very simple tool, and it's going to be super helpful for this upcoming project.